What's up? I'm here in my office today. I just wanted to switch things up a little bit. I apologize if my chair squeaks. It's pretty old, so you might hear some weird sounds. Apologies ahead of time. About to eat my pre-workout meal here. Just pineapple, chicken, and rice with some apple juice. A very good meal, solid meal. Pump is going to be amazing. As of today, I'm about 14 weeks out, just a little bit under 14 weeks out from my show. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about where my mindset is going into this show. It's been 2.5 years since I've stepped on stage, and some things that I've changed with my mindset going into this show. So before, when I did my first set of shows, I was really excited to do my first set of shows and was really making sure that I was sticking to the process. And it was difficult for me because before then, I'd never really stuck to such a regimented meal plan before, like in a true bodybuilding sense, 6 meals a day, every 2.5 to 3 hours, that kind of thing, just very regimented. I had always done my own meal planning of sorts, but it was never strict foods like chicken and rice, beef and rice, cream of rice, that kind of thing. So it was a big switch up for me, and it was pretty difficult, not gonna lie. The challenge was something I really enjoyed, and I still enjoy to this day. I mean, that's why bodybuilders love bodybuilding, is we just love the process of it. But one thing I did was I found myself almost not complaining, well, complaining, I would say complaining, but almost just like finding reasons to make things not enjoyable, whether it was going to work, doing the daily things that we have to do every single day, dishes, laundry, what have you, that basic kind of stuff, and almost just not enjoying the process of prep as much as I could. And prep in and of itself is not the most enjoyable process. It's difficult, challenging, painful. You're hungry all the time, you're tired, and you got to do stuff that you quite frankly don't have energy for. And I would tell myself that. But at the end of the day, it's my choice to do the prep. So now I'm going at it with the mindset of bodybuilding isn't something that if you want to improve over time, you get to take large amounts of time off. So you have these 12, 16, 20-week periods where you're prepping for a show and food is getting less and less, cardio is more and more, and you're just, overall just being run into the ground as a person. And it makes everything around you more difficult, but it is a choice. Nobody's forcing you to do this difficult thing. So I'm looking at it from the approach of this is my life and it's something that I want to do, and I'm just, accepting it for what it is. I might be a little more hungry, I might be a little bit more tired, but at the end of the day, the daily stuff I have to do, it still has to be done. And having that internal dialogue of complaining and being frustrated that these things have to be done is only going to hinder my ability to enjoy the final product of what I'm trying to put together when I step on stage, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to improve. And before I was just like, who's going to be at the show? I want to win. I want to do all this. And of course, I want to win the show that I'm prepping for now. That's always the goal, right? But I'm just trying to beat the person I was last time and let everything else fall into place. And I can tell already that just being a little over 1 week into prep, that this prep is going to be a lot better than the last one. And there's a lot of other factors that go into it, but that's one of the main reasons, if you kind of understood what I was trying to get out there. And a lot of you guys might be wondering why I say the things that I do in the videos, like in the car talks and all this kind of stuff. can sometimes sound kind of harsh, but I think it's very true. A lot of the things I talk about are based off of my own personal experiences, so I'm not trying to single anybody out or come across as if I've never made any of these mistakes, but rather putting them out there so maybe somebody could learn from them, and also just as a reminder for myself to not fall back into those bad habits, because if it's one thing to think something, but I think it's a lot easier to stay away from doing those things if you speak out against them, and just verbally make it known that that's what you stand for. And I definitely think that having a mindset where, it is what it is and you don't attach emotions to it, is going to make it a lot more enjoyable. You can really enjoy it and be able to look back at the challenge, and appreciate it for what it was and who you became after the fact. But I can tell you this right now, looking at this food, I'm getting pretty hungry. So I think I'm going to eat. And then today is quads. So, it's about to be good. I'll probably start with some squats. I was watching a Tom Platz leg workout video today. So I'm ready. I'm ready to die. And that's what we're going to do. So I'll see you at the gym. Let's jump into today's quad workout, starting with the heel elevated Smith squats. You're going to notice in today's workout that I don't go very heavy at all. And this was intentional. I wasn't, injured or anything, or, just deciding to be a pussy and lift a lot lighter. My intention with today was to really focus on pushing my knees forward over my toes. Something I've realized in my quad workouts is I tend to bias my glutes and my hamstrings, and they overpower a lot of my legs, in my opinion. So I really need to focus on isolating the quads a lot better. And I think doing this from time to time with any muscle group is really beneficial, really lowering the load and just focusing on a mind-muscle connection to remind yourself what you're supposed to be feeling. And not that I wasn't feeling my quads working before, but to truly isolate them and really get it to be where my quads are the only thing doing the lifting. I think it's really easy for a lot of lifters to go into the gym and add weight each week and think that your form is the same and think that you're performing the lift exactly the same, when in reality you're not. Things are changing. You might be shifting the load a little bit, things like that. And it's workouts like these where you really just take your time and focus and lock in. And over time, it's going to get better as far as mind-muscle connection with weight. But I don't think, I'm going to completely revamp my training and only train with lighter weights. Well, for this workout, this light, I would like to work out with heavier weights, of course, but with this form and with this level of mind-muscle connection in the future. And that's something to work towards. I mean, this first set here was 2 minutes of pure brutality, and I had a disgusting pump, way more than you would think than you would get with a plate and a quarter on each side. And that's the crazy thing. I think our egos most of the time will tell us there's no way we can get a good workout with such light weight when we're capable of lifting much heavier loads. And, we're trying to use the weight, not just move the weight. And we can oftentimes tell ourselves that we got a really effective set in when we just moved a bunch of weight. And oftentimes I think it's a good idea for anybody to record their workouts, because it really puts your your reps into perspective. Sometimes you think you might be going all the way down. Sometimes you might think you're going slow and controlled. And then you go back and you watch the video and you see that the reps were moving a lot faster than you thought, or you're not going as deep as you thought you were. And if you're somebody like me who doesn't train with anyone very often, it's kind of hard to keep yourself in check if you don't have a mirror in front of you all the time. So recording your sets can serve many purposes aside from just uploading them to the internet so other people can see. Use it as a tool to coach yourself almost, especially if you don't have access to a coach in person. And be real with yourself too. I never understood why people would record a set, and we'll use the squat as an example, I think, because it's the easiest to pick apart. A lot of people, it's easy to tell if you hit depth or not. And in a bodybuilding context, it doesn't really matter. But if your form, you're just like quarter squatting, right? And you post it and you're like, squat PR. And everybody in the comments is like, are you sure about that, dude? Your depth was a little iffy on that one. And then you just see the keyboard warrior come out and they're starting massive arguments. And it's not necessarily about the fact that your depth was bad. You're just mad that somebody pointed it out. When in reality, you're the one that posted it and could have seen that in the first place. So you should be the first person to scrutinize yourself. And that way, if anybody else critiques you, it's just kind of like, yeah, dude, thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate it. I've been working on it. Or if somebody points out something that you could be doing better anyway, just be like, hey, I never saw it that way. Thanks for the advice. And, you don't have to go about it that way if you don't want to, but I think it's just going to save you a lot of mental stress in the long run. There's really no point in getting worked up over what other people say. And if it's just a bunch of BS, it's just a bunch of BS. There's no point in really getting worked up over it, especially if that person doesn't really have any idea of what they're talking about. They're most likely just insecure of where they are, and they want to try to pick somebody else apart and bring them down. So why are you letting somebody like that, mess with you so much? But anyway, I've been doing these single leg pendulum squats for a few months now, and when I say that these make me want to cry, I mean it. They are truly an awful, awful exercise. They suck at the highest level. Like, I don't know what possesses me to do these on my quad days, but every time I do, I almost regret it, and I tell myself to cut it off after one set, but somehow I always manage to get 2 in there. I think a good principle on almost any workout is when you're finishing up a set and you tell yourself, this is my last set, you should do one more set. Because that final set, after you think that you did your final set, that is going to be where the growth comes in. That's where you're mentally going to get stronger. That's where you exceeded your limits from last time. It's when you think that you're done and you tell yourself, no, I'm going to go the extra mile. I'm going to go the 110%. I'm going to go beyond. Otherwise, you're just hitting your 100% and you're not really improving. And if you, the 110%, right? Of course, we can only do 100%, but the mentality of it is once you've given everything, give 10% more. And I know that's a common thing that people throw around and it's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason, and it's because it works. And if you're not willing to give 110% and you're sitting there every single day looking in the mirror, wondering why you're not gaining any weight or why you're not getting shredded, it's because you're not putting in that extra 10%. And that's the difficult part. It's 10%, and it sounds very little, but that 10% when you're at 100% is huge. That is huge. But if you can do that every single time you go to the gym, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to become an unstoppable monster. And don't get me wrong, I have my days too where I leave the gym and I'm just like, I definitely could have gone a lot harder, and that really bugs me, like leaving and thinking that I could have done more. But at the end of the day, don't use it to beat yourself up and use it as an excuse to stop trying. Use that as motivation. Okay, this time, I remember last time I came into the gym, I left some hard work at the door. I'm not leaving until I've exhausted everything. Until I'm crawling out of this gym is when I'm going to leave. And that's what this workout was for me. Lowering the weight, detaching my ego, and you can see right here on screen, I'm like in pain. Like this burns. By no means should 2 plates ever burn, but the Smith squats and the single leg pendulum squats before this were so brutal, and I'm really focusing on getting like as far down as I can and just going slow. Like I have like a 3 or 4 second eccentric going on here. The burn was unreal, and that's something I need to remind myself more of from workout to workout, and especially on leg days, because with chest or with back, this is an effective way of training, but I find that in most cases, because of the way that the legs move, this kind of training just works better. Not that you can't do lighter, more controlled repetitions on chest and back, etc. You definitely can. But I think that legs, people skip leg day for a reason. And I think it's because when you truly dig deep on legs and you isolate it to the point where the weight is enough so that you feel the burn, it's actually easier almost to load up more weight and just push it around and not really focus on what part of your leg is moving the weight. Because what I think a lot of lifters don't realize is on a lot of leg movements, whether it's a quad dominant movement or a hamstring dominant movement, it's really easy for the opposite muscle to come into play and assist. So on a squat, it's easy for the glutes and the hamstrings to come into play, and you still feel it in your quads, but you don't necessarily notice the glutes and the hamstrings assisting. And same thing with the other musculature. It's kind of hard, to do a bench press and be like, oh, damn, my back definitely helped me out a lot there. So that's kind of my mentality there. Now it's a little bit different with leg extensions or leg curls, but your bigger, heavier compound movements like squats, definitely try out the slower, paused, heel elevated kind of stuff, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. And then when you get further into the workout, that's when you're like, damn, I usually can throw 8 to 10 plates on the leg press, but today I could only do 3 or 4. And that's just because you're not used to that isolation. Ideally, over time, we work up the weight, we get used to those loads, we get used to feeling that way in our quads, and then we get stronger there. Anyway, I've been rambling on for a minute, so I'm just going to finish off these few reps, and I will see you in the posing room. All right, so that is going to finish today's quad workout. What's up?
Are you filming?
I am. Are you done? Okay. Anyway, so you could probably tell that I went a lot lighter than I normally do. And today I was just focusing on driving my knees straight over my toes and really focusing on the mind-muscle connection. I can tell you my quads were burning, and I got a pump. I can guarantee you that. The tricky thing is getting it to translate on camera, because the lighting in here is so-so. It looks pretty good off camera, but on camera it's just not the best, not the greatest. But anyway, let's just check out the pump anyway, see what we got going on. I also haven't shaved my legs really, but they are definitely full. I can tell you that. I'll get a little closer. Water is starting to come off a little bit. Let's see. Not bad. I actually hit calves before I came in here, so I have a little bit of a calf pump going on, if you could call it that. It's not much. It's just honest work, if you know what I mean. But yeah, nothing left to do but just throw down the post-workout carbs, and I'm actually gonna do some abs. I want to start doing some planks because I need to focus, or I need to work on keeping my core controlled and keeping my core locked in, because when you're standing up on stage, you don't want your stomach to just pop out. So I need to focus on my core control, and I've been working on that during my workouts as well. It's not the best, but we're getting better, keeping the core in and everything. But anyway, that's enough rambling. I will see you guys back at the house. All right, so I've been back from the gym for a little bit now, and I just got out of an Epsom salt bath to hopefully mitigate some of the soreness that's definitely going to come from today's workout. If you couldn't tell in the video, I was doing a lot more focus on driving my knees over my toes. So my quads are very, very sore, and I definitely like to sit in Epsom salt baths. Those can help reduce soreness. So hopefully it does its job. I also don't have access to a sauna, unfortunately, which I really like. So I crank the water heat up as high as I can and then just sit in it for about 20 to 25 minutes and then finish off with a really cold shower. It's kind of like a ghetto sauna ice bath setup. And it's not perfect. I definitely could do ice baths here. Unfortunately, my bathtub is super shallow, so I can only do half of my body at a time. But whatever you have, you got to use it. So I might bust out some of the ice baths here soon, but for now, the salt baths with the cold shower are going to have to do. So my legs feel good right now, and we'll have to see how they feel in the morning. But now the rest of the evening is it's just time to chill. So I have a couple meals left. One of them is chicken and rice, and then the last one is just some beef and some eggs. I also have some diet sodas to help give me some flavor so I can remember what real life tastes like. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate you guys for stopping by, and I will see you when I see you.